So I'm pleased to introduce to you now Lorenzo Bernasconi from Lombard Odier. And Lorenzo, are you there?
Hi, everyone.
Yes, great, wonderful. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here, and I'm sorry that I'm not there in person. Um, and if we can maybe just get to the next slide. Yeah, so just to start off with, I think that, the important element where we're starting off here is we're looking at this from a global perspective and thinking, look, that the way that we situate our investments in nature, and as some of you may know in the room, Lombard Odier has really taken kind of sustainability as a core conviction of our investment advice and the types of products that we're bringing to market. And really, this is thinking about the economy as moving in a direction where we think that sustainability is really going to drive risk and returns going forward, and that we need to move towards a system that really harnesses the power of nature more effectively. And as you can see here, we have in the next slide launched as our first. There we go. Thank you. We've already launched. We're the first asset manager to launch a public strategy focused on natural capital. It was launched in November 2020. It's informed by the best, in class science. So we've got a partnership actually with Oxford University where we have helped them, where we're supporting them in research into bioeconomy and the circular economy, which is really informing the thinking behind this. And the strategy today has been really about two things. How do we bring institutional investment into this space? So this is kind of how do we get a toe in the water, so to speak, and thinking about this through two lenses. One of them is how do we best harness the regenerative power of nature? And on the other hand, how do we best protect nature? So there's about 40 to 50 companies in the portfolio. We've got about $900 million invested. And building off that, if we go to the next slide, we're now exploring how is it that we can kind of go to the next level of impact here. And what we're looking at, and I think as has been discussed earlier, is the strategy that really is harnessing the drive of the carbon markets to create a best-in-class product offering around natural climate solutions. And on the left here, you'll see what are some of the drivers, as we know, and I think it takes no reminding for anyone in the room, the scientific imperative for us to move. We think that this net zero kind of revolution really is a one in a generation opportunity for us to try to get this right and to reverse the course of historical destruction of nature into really bringing large-scale private investment into some of the areas of greatest need. And this is the first time I think in my career that we actually have a captive audience in terms of really seeing true demand from institutional investors to move into this space. And the third point is, I think as was just highlighted through Vilinder, we see that there's now a new set of technological solutions as well as greater maturity around just the infrastructure. So we're getting to have a better understanding, for example, of what quality looks like in these markets that gives us confidence that we can move here at greater scale. So what are we looking at? Our approach really is founded on three different pillars here. The first one is, around partnerships. We think that, what's critical here is to be able to actually deliver high quality projects, to be able to do that, at scale, which is the third point. But, in that we're looking for partnerships as we develop the strategy going forward. So those in the room, particularly from a technology perspective, would be super excited to connect. I think that this is an opportunity for us to really heighten quality when it comes to, for instance, monitoring of projects and evaluating them and reducing, where possible, the costs of verification, which is, as you know, big hindrance to trying to get some of these projects off the ground. The second point is really around a focus on quality. And here, for us, it's on the one hand, environmental impact, which is, of course, incredibly important. It's ensuring that the projects have co-benefits, but it's also really important to keep in mind here the social safeguards that we need to make sure that are in place. And, for this market to really have the impact and the success it needs to have, we need to make sure that also local communities, indigenous people, are part of, benefiting of this investment opportunity. And that's kind of core to how we're thinking about our strategy. And the last point I'd make is just around scale. I mean, for us, I think as an investment management firm, we are obviously working with institutional investors. We are looking to find ways of really trying to unlock capital at scale here. And that takes a slightly different approach, perhaps, than some other ways of doing it. But there's an imperative to do it now. There's no plan B. This is the decade that counts. And thank you all for the time, and look forward to partnering with you guys. And sorry again not to be there in person with you. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. The next, we have El Medina from the IUCN Nature and Accelerator Fund. I think she's also joining us online.